Go ahead and call the meeting to order, and we will start off with the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we have a quorum, and then we will open it up for the public hearing related to the 2025 budgets. Do we have to leave it open for a minute? Leave it open for a minute? No?
You know, I've never wanted to challenge that. I think so long as you
Okay.
want to ask if there are people here that wish to make public comment and no one arises, I don't think we have to necessarily time it.
Does anybody have any public comment they would like? Okay, thank you all for your comment. So we will move on then to the consent agenda.
I had nothing.
I found here.
Sure.
Yep.
I will make a motion to approve the consent agenda as is.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Sorry, we're gonna sign these now, there's two, so. Yeah.
Ready. Tired.
Oh, sorry.
An agenda, two bets.
All right, department head reports are up first, township assistants.
Township assistant's been as busy as ever. We have slowly started cross-training Amber, like this is the front desk to help Becky when Becky needs or when Becky's on vacation. So that cross-training started a couple weeks ago, just so that there's someone else besides her and me that can do this stuff as well. I think that's going well and great. Becky will actually be on vacation next week, so we will be, between Amber and myself, we will be hopping along, trying to figure it all out as we go. Any questions about township assistance?
Okay, human resources.
HR has been busy as well. You can see most of the terminations listed have been just because camp's over, just removing them out of the system. We did hire 6 new extended care in August, 16 firefighters, 1 paramedic that we've talked endlessly about as well. Gearing up for open enrollment, which will be about mid-October. Thank you.
Yeah.
Parks.
All right, just like I mentioned in my report, the pools have officially been drained. We ended the pool season with our Dog Dip Day, which each year keeps getting bigger and bigger. We are working on the final budget, but we still have some revenues coming in. Liz has been doing some CPR trainings in-house and then also in the community, so that's some extra revenue that's coming in, as well as some sponsorships that we have sold at the end of the year for the next 2 years. So we're kind of refining that spreadsheet as it comes in. And then right now we're doing deep cleans of all the facilities. And then also working through the food that we still have. We don't have a lot left. We were really conservative at the end of the pool season to make sure we didn't have an abundance of food. But all that expired food does get donated out into the community. Then for the nature center, we do have a new naturalist who will be starting on Monday. We've been working hard on the glow lab. We're hoping to have that finished by the end of October. Right now, we are focusing on our Ghosts and Goblins event, which is one of our bigger events for the year. We already have about 35 vendors signed up, which is really great for at this point of the year. Our goal is to be around 50. And then the programmers are really excited because we actually have the Ghostbusters coming out this year, and so they'll be at Ghosts and Goblins. We had to book them a year in advance. They're very popular. So then we are in full swing for Christmas mode. We have 7 different unique events planned. And then we've been working with marketing to come up with our event guide for Christmas in the parks. Registration for fall camp has opened. And the registration looks really well. We also, for EEC, we are fully staffed. We are at the point where we are actually not even hiring staff at this point. We've never actually gotten to that point where we aren't hiring. We have a really good group. We have a lot of subs. So we're doing really well with staff this year. We're really excited about that. And I think that has a lot to do with the incentive programs that we put in place, the retention programs that we put in place, and then also just putting a big emphasis on making sure that it's a safe and healthy environment for all participants and all staff too. And it just goes to show that just putting that little extra effort into the retention has really worked out well for us. And then also for our maintenance division, they are going to be moving dirt on the Explorer barn. So we are all really excited that they're going to be finally starting on that Explorer barn. So that's exciting. The maintenance is really going to be focusing on that this fall and winter. They're doing a lot of the build outs themselves on the inside of that building. And so with that, I did mention in the first part of my report, just based on the last few years of Penguin Park and what we're getting, what we're investing in it time-wise, what we're investing in it monetarily, and then what we're getting out of it, we're just not seeing that return on investment. So we are going to hold off on it for this year, kind of rework some things. Like I said before, we're not ready to completely get rid of it at this point, but we would kind of like to take a seat back, see what that looks like in our budget, see what that looks like for everything, and then come back to you with an idea in the future.
Is there a marketability for that rink?
Yes. It's because we're a government entity, we have to do that in several forums, but I've been talking to, just putting some feelers out there for people that I think might be interested in it. But as far as the igloos are concerned, we do have some ideas with that. Moving forward with the igloos that we do still have. Right now it's all beginner, so I don't want to really say everything. I'd like to get all the budgets together and then present it to you. And then also I need to get with the fire marshal as well. So we have a plan, but we really like to step back, take a second, and really think about that. Because like I said, we've been spending, Stephanie, I have been spending a lot of time looking at what we're spending, what time we're putting in, and looking at that return on investment. And it's just not there with that. It's
I'm
a great
not second
amenity.
guessing your decision.
Yeah.
I was just saying if we've got an asset that we're not going to use, can we convert it back to cash?
We can, we just have to work with Jeff to go over what that open forum looks like, that we could put that out there on. And then when you get to the budget section, we're actually doing very well on our budget. You can see our goal for the year, we've already met that goal. Murphy, we're still not done with that one, but we are very close to what that goal looks like. And you can see that in the Murphy month to month. But you can see we're doing very well on the budget right now. I did notice that the totals are messed up on the Murphy month to month, so I will change those for the next meeting.
One thing that I noticed that, and this goes back into the budget also, when I saw that, the concessions at the park, the water park, didn't seem to be near as high a dollar and or as profitable.
Yes, And
this
we are
year,
already
so,
looking at that.
okay, so that's
Yeah,
some
that's
of the
Liz's
things.
goal this winter is she is revamping that menu. She's also looking at revamping some of that product and looking at the profit margins and how we can make the most out of those profit margins. Because we upped the prices for admission, but we really didn't up prices in the concession, and a lot of that food did end up going up. So that's some of the stuff that we're looking at. We've been to a couple different concession areas where we've taken like pictures of the menu, but also getting with them on where they get those specific things. And so that is one of her goals for next year is increasing that line. Any other questions?
Thank you. Next up, fire.
Clock here. All right. First paragraph, recruit class is in full swing. We went out and visited them today before the meeting. Trustee Miller and I and Chief Porter came out shortly thereafter, just kind of watching what they're doing. They're getting into the hands-on training portion. They have now completed the class expectations as of August 19th, pride and ownership, hazmat awareness and ops, and progressive gear drills and instruction. We also had family night where both their families in here. We were anticipating about 30-some people, and we filled the room up to standing room only. Got to meet a lot of their families, extended family. We'll do another one of those later on this year and kind of see where they're all at after they started generating friendships and different types of relationships throughout the class, and just kind of see how their families have come together and then who shows up that. I think that meeting will probably be a little more intimate meeting where it's going to be them and immediate family talking about what they're experiencing and where they're moving as far as the career, where it's going to take them. This last one was just kind of a meet and greet and quick expectations of what they might be going through during class and the trials and tribulations they may pose on families. Lateral transfer process in the previous meeting, we talked about that. That's now finished. We'll be doing interviews next week on Tuesday and Wednesday between 10 and 2. So we're going to interview of the 20 applicants. We're going to interview about half of them. The other half just either didn't give a driving record, they didn't give a criminal background check, they just didn't follow the directions, so we're not even going to interview them. We're just trying to weed people out on the front end. We've had an abundance of applicants on all fronts. Anytime we run out of civilian medics, we always have more applying. That's a kudos to our medics that we have, putting the word out, talking to friends, talking to people other places, and talking to them about coming to our organization. So yeah, again, we've got about 30, little over 30 people left on our new hire list. We look to hire 4 of the laterals just for immediate needs. We don't want to add to the recruit class. That process takes too long. We'd have to put them through physicals and psych and so on. There's been a few questions I've had is why don't we look to add to the class? And that's not practical. They'll be too far behind. Besides budgets and Recruit Academy, Station 145 and Station 143, it's moving and our staff's running full capacity, but I've learned more about trees, land, property variances than I've ever cared to know. But I know a lot about trees. If you have any questions, ask me. If I can't answer them, Chief Porter, Chief Phipps can. And root systems and whatever else we'll talk about. Anyway, fire training. We've been fully immersed in the organization operations of the Recruit Academy. Once it settles down, we'll get back into company level training for our employees. Today, they were doing some extrication training early on. So. Plus they're over there doing driver op now. So just because training, the chiefs aren't necessarily involved, our people are stepping up, and Trustee Miller mentioned he was pleased to see the different faces of everybody stepping up and training our people. So even from the company level, everybody's getting active, everybody's taking part, and we've needed that. It's good fellowship with our people too. EMS, we hired Mr. Alex Wilson to the group. He's been hired in the last month, came on in around the same time the recruits did, started on the same day, August 19th. He's in full swing. Went and visited them last night at Station 141, spent some time together, and hung out with them and interrupted their dinner, as you might have seen on social media, where they were wearing 10 hats and so on and so forth. So and then caught a run and left me sitting there. Had some different interactions with HRH, with the respiratory therapist. Brought that up a little bit last meeting with the tracheostomy care. IUS came in and recognized Ladder 141 and Medic 141 on C shift for their work on a cardiac arrest, where the patient was able to walk out with no deficits, go home, mow their grass within the week after they were released, and just back to normal life. And again, those are huge issues for people around us, and we talk about our response times and so on and so forth. And cardiac arrest is a critical one. You know, that's a single-digit % on survival on those. So, you know, good work on them. And the hospital came here to recognize them. And then the Chill and Grill with HRH, we appreciate that. Moving forward into fire prevention, you'll see that number moving up on inspections, plan reviews, and site reviews. They're getting back into busy time of year. During the summer is a little bit of a lull time. And they've currently brought in just over $30,000 in revenue. Tom, Levi, and Tony went to the Indiana Fire Investigation Conference recently. And then as you move over to PubEd, those numbers you guys can read. I'm not going to go through all of those. The big one is you go down to trainings. We sent her to a week-long PIO conference down in Clearwater. A lot of our PIOs from the area were down there. So getting to know each other, getting to know people in the group. Also looking at going to some more meetings around here where our news stations and other PIOs from all the different types of agencies, they come together, get to know each other, talk about critical events, talk about the closed door likes and dislikes of how the news is reporting on current events that we're seeing. There is some back end conversation that goes on there that we'll start getting Courtney involved in as she moves forward and try to develop her and go into these national level conferences and going through the Youth Fire Center program at the National Fire Academy. Those are big experiences, and they're needed. And she was talking about one of her classes. She had to do a presentation to the chief, and I was like, well, why haven't we seen the presentation, right? So what we need to do is go to these trainings and bring them back. And she said that they were the way a lot of the big cities were there. So the presentation, the way she would have done it, the way we can talk in-house in our size department versus how some of the cities, people couldn't believe that you can have that dialogue with the fire chief or their staff. And again, it's just our unique perspective on how we can do business. So we'll look forward to those presentations that she put on how she would like to move us forward and what our interaction should be. Right now, we do a lot of stuff with daycares. We need to start moving into the middle schoolers and high schoolers a lot more, because that's where a lot of your problems are coming from when it comes to your fire center. The rest of that, I'm good. You guys can go through that and read it. The bottom thing on PIO events, I would tell you, where it says attended a fallen firefighter funeral. She was called by Eric Bannister, the PIO at Wayne Township, just to assist with coverage while they tended to their fallen. We were able to take our recruits there as well to let them see what the process was like. And, we talk about that, and we talk about that recruit class, but having them experience it, and even from a PIO perspective, to kind of be in the shadow, watching and helping and assisting, a lot of things to learn there. It's stuff we hope we never have to deal with, but it's just the reality of the job and the profession. Moving into runs. You guys read this every week. We didn't have any shutdowns of Station 144. Or rather, I should say you read this every month. But the one thing we need to look at, and the importance of our construction of our stations, and the importance of us looking at our deployment of forces, whether it's Station 145, the potential discussion on 142s later. Ladder 141 should not be leading the way in runs, and they're leading the way in month for 182 runs, and year to date at 1,425. A vehicle that size and that cost shouldn't be our front line. We're going to do a temporary shell game whenever we move the engine there while we do our construction and remodeling. It's going to help, but again, that's not going to be the long-term solution. Long-term solution is going to be more things that I bring to the board on hiring and the real growth of our department and getting us where we need to be. We're where we need to be as far as we're getting to where we need to be on geographical location of buildings, but then now we have to fill those buildings with people. They don't need to be the capacity, they just need to be appropriate. So total incidents by shift, A shift's holding that down at 1,866. We have a total of 5,500 runs. We're up 171 from last year. So we're trending to be in the mid 8,000s. I think we were predicting early on to be around close to 9,000, but it depends on what kind of winter we have and what those runs look like. We have it flow in spurts, so we'll see when that spurt comes. It's been a little quiet lately. Any questions?
I had a quick question.
Sure.
I was watching the Avon Town Council board meeting, the last one, and they said something that the Station 145 Board of Zoning Appeals had pushed you back.
Yeah,
Is that-
continuously.
Is there concern about that? Do we know why they're doing that?
That particular meeting was pushed back based on some additional information that needed to be generated and gathered.
Okay,
We have a meeting scheduled next week with,
Monday.
Monday with them, so it just got moved, it got postponed to the next meeting to get.
They needed
crossed
more
and stuff.
They do. I would ask you guys to come to that meeting. It's been interesting. It's been an interesting interaction.
when is that meeting?
Monday at 6:30.
At
We'll get the
town?
project done. It's just a lot of hoops and,
And that meeting's at the town council?
Mhm.
Okay.
I will say the neighbor has been great conversation, been amicable. Trustee Miller and I have been to the house, visited with him. His wife and him came here and met with us. Every time they ask a question though, there's a considerable reaction by the town based on their questions.
Okay.
The neighbor was against a gas station going there a while back before we owned the property. But, as his wife said when she was here, we're not against the fire station. They're just really trying to protect their privacy and their tree line, and that's understandable. Yeah, I would consider going to the meeting if I were you guys.
Okay.
That's all I got. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next up in old business, the pedestrian crossing.
I am happy to report to the board that the MAP pedestrian crossing will hopefully never show up on our agendas again, because that seems to be the one item that has reoccurred the most since I've been in office, a year and 3/4 ago. So, so the pedestrian crossing is open. There's been just a little bit of conversation about that online, if you've read any of that. A lot of different thoughts and opinions on that. I'm happy that obviously we were able to make an agreement with the town to have them completely take over that project. We got everything that we needed as far as certificate of occupancy for the Murphy build out that happened several years ago now. So our hands have been washed of that for quite a while. The town was very specific on what they wanted, and they built it to their specs. So the project is done. We don't anticipate any more closures of 625, but yeah, we'll see where that goes from here. I would anticipate now that they've got that crossing, Laura, and if you know any more about it, there eventually will be a trail that connects to that crossing, which was the reasoning for wanting that to begin with. So I would imagine that hopefully that project will be getting green light now as well, which will connect the Township Park through that trail system, through the White Lake Creek Trailway to Murphy, which is a goal of the towns to try to connect as many of the different parks to the town's trail system as they can. So looking forward to that. So hopefully I will delete that line out of this agenda and we won't see that anymore.
So just to clarify, the original pedestrian crossing was built to the town specifications. We paid to remove said crossing when they received complaints on that. We paid to have the town put the new crossing in to their specifications this entire time, correct?
Yes.
Just want everybody to understand that. Based on any feedback you've received, so. Let's see, any new business? Okay, any public comment or wishes to be heard? Okay, we just need the next meeting is Thursday, October 10th, at 3 o'clock in the same location.
I will make a motion to adjourn at 3:23 p.m.
I second.
All those in favor?